bring that into the brick filming now.
This is Battle of the Brick Flicks, a head-to-head competition where your favorite brick filmers face off to see who's got what it takes to bring home the Brickademy Award. Let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to Battle of the Brick Flicks. Joining me today is David Pickett, the man, the myth, the legend. Welcome, David.
Happy to be here, Paul. Happy to be in round 2. Woo! Battle of the Brick Flicks.
Joining me today is Devon Brown from Oxburger Studios. Devon was our wildcard winner. And Devon, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thanks for having me, Paul. Stoked to be on the show.
This round, your film, Don't Mess with Santa 3. You're going up against David Pickett's Nightly News at 9, Robophilia versus Grabor. I love how creative it is, especially when you have these villains.
Let me introduce you to Hairman, No Hand Jack, and Chrome Neck Larry. Well, don't just stand there. Haha. Ah, butts, I brought my airsoft gun.
Barry, cover fire. Barry?
Be right out.
How do you come up with these wild characters?
I think, again, it's just trying to bring something new and different. And I tried to pick villains that would be just pretty useless, actually. It makes it a pretty easy fight for Santa. But, yeah, it's the weirdest villains possible, which aren't even hardly villains. They're just these dudes helping out Bagman with his evil shenanigans.
Dude, I love it, man.
My favorite parts were some of the brick-built effects that happened, like guy who's sitting on a couch, his couch goes like down into his secret lair, and just like the legs of the couch going. That was like a cool animation. Or there's a secret agent out in the field and he presses like a button on his remote and then like his car pops out like a satellite dish. Those are the kind of things to me that, you know, emphasize like, oh, that's what's cool about this medium, is that you can quickly build things and just have them come to life like that. But I also just like the character design. The villains were silly. Something dramatic is happening, and then it goes like dun 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 dun, and it keeps doing that, and then the camera turns over, and you see like dramatic sound effects department, and there's a guy like sitting there like. Doop. So yeah, just kind of those goofy, cartoonish aspects are always what appeals to me in brick films. So.
Well, and I think that's why it'll be a good match to have the two of you guys go against each other, because you both make really fun, creative, and with a stressing on like brick built effects. You're a ski instructor. How does that affect your style in brick filming?
I think it really affects how I go about putting the movie together. Obviously, ski movies and whatnot always are to music and whatnot, so that really changes the way that you're animating stuff. Typically, I'll get the song or whatever, and then I'll just start playing it over and over again, and I'll usually just have a pad of paper and be like, yeah, that would be a really cool, let's do a backflip or whatever at that kind of build up in the song, and just kind of building off from that. I'll typically do the more difficult shots or whatever first, and then kind of, oh, I can do that. Now I can do the rest of the video easy.
You've got Robophilia versus Grabor. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how that came to be?
Yeah, Robophilia versus Grabor. I think I made that back in 2011. It's part of the Nightly News at 9, Chapter 2, Robots, which is all about robots. I knew I wanted to have Robophilia go interview / fight the leader of the Pinchbots, Grabor, Robophilia.
Even a reporter feels the chase. The Pinchbot leader bot. I'm gonna find you, bot. You're gonna find me. Not reporter Botophilia. That's me. Always gets her leader. She is undefeated, Uncle Area. Big way. Reporter Botophilia's got her lead. Something tells me the Pinchbot leader.
You know, to me, I've always envisioned Robophilia as kind of an amalgam of like Mega Man Samus from Metroid and just Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a news reporter. Animating with Robophilia is so much fun because, you know, she's like Inspector Gadget too, that her arm can just turn into whatever, and she's got bouncy legs and grabby arms, and she swings. So I don't always know what she's going to do half the time I start animating with her. I just kind of have a bunch of gray pieces and go wild. The fight sequence she does with Grabor, it's like a 30-second shot, and it was totally improvised. For me, that's kind of the fun, is just playing with Lego and bringing it to life.
I love David Pickett stuff. He uses so many just animation techniques in his videos. It's like all animation driven. I don't think he uses many effects in it, which is really awesome and respectable. And he's just, his crazy storylines that he's got going through these movies, I mean, they just keep you coming back. It's the green versus orange and all that crazy stuff. Love it. And Robophilia's arms and stuff that she's always doing and whatnot. Love it.
I love all the madness in your films. You know, there's so much creativity in them. Do you have any advice for, let's say, a new brick filmer on the scene or somebody who's just starting out?
My advice on coming up with ideas and kind of developing them is to, you know, write like you're a kid. What is the crazy thing that you think would be awesome? And then write that story. But then, you know, once you have that sort of basic outline, show it to other people, like show those scripts that you've written. I got a lot of great feedback from people when I was developing the early scripts of Nightly News at 9. I read through the scripts and saw what parts people thought were funny, and then I would add more of that. It takes a long time to make something that's really good, and but it's worth that effort to develop your idea before you even start animating. But at the same time, you know, as much as I'm really into the planning aspect, I think that it's really important to keep play as a really big part of Lego animation. So that's why I always have things where I just have a general outline of what I want to happen. Like, I know Robophilia is going to beat Grabor, but the details of their fight I left up to just sort of me playing with the characters and seeing what felt good. It's not necessarily storyboarded, it's just I've got some clear ideas and some just wide open areas that I can fill in later. So that'd be my advice.
Dude, that's a great tip. So I want everybody to go watch both movies, and you're either going to vote for Robophilia versus Grabor or Don't Mess with Santa 3. Vote in the comments below, and you have a 2-week voting window that starts today. Thanks for joining me. That's all for this episode of Battle of the Brick Flicks.